What's going on, guys? This is the Combat Source Podcast. My name is Josh, and it is December 9th, 2022. Thank you for joining me. It's been a little while since my last episode. I do apologize. I think the last one maybe was in August. Taken a little bit of time off. A lot of things going on. Biggest thing is that I've had my second child, and so he was born November 1st. There was a lot of things in terms of prep, and just getting things ready for that, and just this past month or so, just getting used to having two children. Thankfully, he's happy, healthy, and very easy baby, and it's been great. So, been feeling motivated to get back into this, to breathe some new life into this project. The Combat Source Podcast website is going to be up pretty soon. Within probably by the time you hear this episode, it's going to be up. Should be up and live today. It takes a couple of days, and I got that going a few days back. So it's going to be the combatsource.com that will be live today, December 9th. The weekly podcast is going to go up. I'm going to do another episode next week, and yeah, we're going to keep this ball rolling. I'm going to try to get to a lot of events. I try to get to LFA. I think 148, I believe, that they have going on this weekend. That's close by to home. I was going to try to get into that, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a little bit too late to get credentialed for that. It's a little bit of a process, and LFA has always been a little bit difficult to get into for whatever reason. That their PR team, you kind of have to search and ask around to see who's involved in it. So the PR team for that, it was a little bit too late to get credentialed for that. So I'm not too upset with that. It was a big event. You got some Sabina Mazo and a couple of Chase Gibson, I believe. You got a couple of people on that card that piqued my interest. But that takes place. I think you got the Commerce Casino in Commerce, California, December 9th. That's tonight. And that is, I believe, on Fight Pass. I believe it's LFA 148. Today's episode, I kind of just want to just do a quick episode, get this out there, get the ball rolling again. Made the commitment to really get this going. Committed to the more of the social media, committing to the play-by-plays on Twitter. A lot more activity. You're going to see that. A lot more activity on Instagram and Twitter. YouTube is another thing I'm going to try to get. I'm trying to figure out what angle to take the YouTube on. If it's going to be a short form video, long form video, or just the audio podcast up on the YouTube. I don't know. And then reserve the YouTube for the audio podcast along with live event coverage, like fighter interviews and press conferences and stuff like that. There's not a lot that goes on in Southern California. Not a lot of the big shows are coming out here that often. Things are still warming up. Bellator has barely started putting a lot of their big cards out here. They're not really in San Jose all that much anymore. They got the big CBS card coming up, I believe, in March. They just had one at the Forum a couple of months back. But everything else that they've had since pandemic has been at the WinStar. And so they, that's the big Southern California, Northern California promotion. And they haven't really been doing a lot out here. So I see them making their way back home, and which is a good thing. Uh, UFC is making more live events in Vegas, San Diego, stuff like that. Um, Glory doesn't really come out here all that much anymore. Invicta doesn't come out here much anymore. You got LFA that comes out here, and then you got smaller promotions, local promotions, which I'm gonna actually try to get in touch with and see if I can get to in some of those local promotions. Um, uh, there's quite a few, um, and so I'm gonna try to get some of those and try to get some interviews from guys in those promotions that are small upstarts, local to the Southern California LA area. So and just that I'm gonna try to do some fighter interviews, some Skype interviews. I'm gonna try to do those as often as I can. I'm gonna reach out to fighters and see if they could come on the show. Um, just get the ball rolling again. At first, when I first started it, it had been a while since the MMA complex ended, and by the time I figured that I kind of still wanted to do this and be a part of the sport, um, I kind of figured that I was gonna come back to it because as hard as I tried to kind of distance myself from it in a way, from the idea of coming back into the media realm or within any aspect of being a part of the mixed martial arts sports or combat sports in general, I was starting to distance myself from it mentally, as well as just not being around it that much anymore. Um, not podcasting, not anything, and I found it. I found myself thinking about it a lot. I found myself wanting to, just thinking about ways I can. What can I do? What can I do to make this thing work? What can I do to make a living off of this thing? What can I do to just be a part of it in some way and it be meaningful? You know what I mean? Um, especially when you have a wife and two kids. Um, you know, it's gotta really, really, you know, I don't know, be fruitful in some way. You know what I mean? Or have incredible work life balance to make it work, because it's not bringing in money or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna do the podcast. I'm gonna do fighter interviews. I'm gonna do on location stuff. I'm gonna do play by plays on Twitter and all that. I'm gonna see if I can reach out to some people, see if I could do some play by plays for them. Um, and I'm gonna just keep on doing that. That's just what I'm gonna keep on doing. So, fuck it. You know what I mean? I don't never consider myself much of a writer. Um, I find it like, I used to do art and draw and all that stuff back in the day, and I used to hate it when people would look at my shit until I was done. You know, and with writing, especially when you're writing for other people, they need it right away. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of time. You gotta like write and edit at the same time. And I don't think, not that I'm not a good writer. I'm a decent writer, but I've never had enough practice to where I'm like, I got the grammar down. I got the message is coming across perfectly, and everything's kind of you know written in a way that they're looking for, what they're looking for. And then I'm in sports writing, I've just never been a big a pro at sports writing. I've written plenty of papers, written plenty of articles, and done internships and stuff like that where I've had to do stuff like that. And even did it on my own for my blog when I first started this. When I first started the MMA complex, it was a blog at first, um, and I decided to take it from there. And you know, I think I'm gonna see if I could do that, and maybe some gigs I'll just be a photographer. Fuck it. I'm just gonna do that, and hopefully I could get to as many live events as I possibly can in this area. Um, and I don't know, reach out to people, see what they think, see what they what kind of advice I can get, and I'm gonna go into this again. I'm gonna do as much as I can and be a part of this sport as much as I can because it's what I love. I do. I felt I don't know if I was burnt out. I don't know if I just plateaued, and I don't know if I you know felt I don't know just discouraged because you put so much time and effort and work into it, and then you sit back and look and see you know the fruits of your labor and see what did I get out of this. Um, did I get a lot of friends out of this? Some. Did I get a lot of, or at least people that it can reach out to and they'll respond right away? Right away, yeah. Or some people that would say happy birthday on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, yeah. But are they coming over my house? No. You know what I mean? Um, the train keeps on moving. You know what I mean? That's what I've noticed is that the train keeps on moving, whether you're in it or not. And you want to be a part of it, you got to jump on board. So that's where I'm at. This weekend you have some really good fights. Now, obviously, there's a lot that I missed in terms of the last time I did an episode. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into any of that. There's just too much to get into. Um, I'm just going to start with this week and this week alone. This week we have a Bellator card. We have a UFC card. You have LFA on Fight Pass. You have Bellator 289 Stotts versus Sabatello and UFC 282 Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. And I'm looking forward to both of those. And plus, we had the big showdown between Ariel Helwani and Paddy Pimblett, which was great to see. It was I always get bummed out when I see shit like that. You know what I mean? But just because it's like, some of the media members versus promoters, media members versus fighters, you don't like to see that because I think coming from the media side, uh, it's like the mainstream has yet to fully 100% back this sport. You know what I mean? When something big happens in the sport, as far as a fan is concerned, like a hardcore, compared to like an NFL story or NBA story or um, some controversy with like whoever's on the Nets team, it's like in an NBA, it's mainstream news, man. It's worldwide news. It's on on ESPN and on your local news. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. With the UFC, I mean, or MMA in general, combat sports in general, and you know, aside from the Conor McGregor's and the Floyd Mayweather's, you're not seeing a lot of the ins and outs of this sport put on display on in the public. It's not picked up. It's not on their radar. You know what I mean? So when I see beefs going on between media and fighters or media and promoters, I think it's natural. It's going to happen. Egos are involved. Self-interests are involved. And promoters are looking out for themselves and their money and their fighters, and fighters are looking out for their pride. Um, the media is looking out for their jobs and their paycheck and their credibility. And unfortunately, a lot of the media are ass kissers, and you know they walk the line and stay obedient. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the UFC. And you got a guy like Ariel Helwani who he will say it and he'll call it out and he'll do whatever he needs to do. And you got guys like Luke Thomas, who I love Luke Thomas, man. He's been on. I've interviewed him for the MMA Complex before. I've mentioned this before. I love the Morning Combat. I love all those guys. I love a lot. There's a lot of media members that I really respect. Mark Ramundi, even though he kind of when he got big, and all the credit to him, and he's you know he's blown up a lot since then. Since I first met him, he was one of my first guests, and you know he's one of the best writers out there, man. That investigative journalist you want to say in MMA, he's one of the best. Um, and so these guys put in a lot of work and they love the sport, man. And they can easily just go and make a lot more money covering other sports, but they choose to cover this sport. And I think they deserve a lot more respect than they're given. Um, I don't know. And so that beef with Patty, I mean, Patty's just, I mean, it's weird how Patty went, man. I think the Molly loss really really lit a fire in him in terms of trying to solidify himself as the European star. I think with Molly losing and getting handled, um, I think Patty really was like, I'm the guy now. It's official. I'm the guy. I gotta let everybody know I'm the guy. And Molly failed, so now I'm the one that's gonna take the mantle, and I'm gonna be the company guy. I'm gonna be the next Conor McGregor, even though he's not saying it. He's gonna be he's saying all the things that Conor McGregor said in terms of like how he's acting this week. And on that display of brown nosing that he did on his podcast, which was fucking pathetic. You know what I mean? It was super pathetic. I mean, he didn't even wait until near retirement like a Matt Serra to kiss so much ass, man. He fucking went deep diving into Dana White's fucking ball sack. You know what I mean? And I lost a lot of respect for him in that sense, man. It's like you can easily lose this weekend. You know what I mean? He can easily lose this weekend. And the fact that he went so hard in the paint and tried to get some clicks and some views and that's all he did it for, man. You know what I mean? And it was pathetic. It was sad to see. And the fact that he chose to go at Ariel with, you know, if you guys watched the recap and the response, if you guys watched Patty's, you know, first response, like his opinion on Ariel and the way he went at him. If you watched all of that, then you watched Ariel's response the next day. I mean, Ariel just demolished him. Had receipts, man. It was beautiful to see. That's what I expected from Ariel, especially this current Ariel. And I thought it was great, man. I thought it was fantastic to see. And he smashed him. And I don't think he'll necessarily do that again. I really don't. I think it was sad to see because when Ariel laid it all out, it was really even more pathetic. It made Patty even look even more pathetic because he was such he he was obviously brown nosing, mixing up history and facts and just looked. And he made him look like a fool, man. He made him look like a big time fool, man. And it was beautiful to see. And I was, and credit to Ariel Hawani, man. He got his 13th MMA Journalist of the Year award. I thought that was big ups to him. Perfect timing. If you guys all don't know, the MMA awards, the Fighters International Fighter Awards, Fighter Magazine Awards. Those are held pretty much every year. Still held every year. I don't even think that the magazine is in publication so much anymore. I think it's primarily just an online website. But they had their annual award show this past weekend. I thought it was, which we'll end up seeing at some point. I don't know where it gets shown at, but Ariel, perfect timing, man, wins another MMA Journalist of the Year award. So I thought that was great. Quickly, again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. This is just going to be a quick episode. I want to get this out there. We'll have a longer episode, recap the fights from this weekend, talk about the upcoming fights. Mainly is going to be the Ryzen card to end the year, the New Year's card. We'll talk about whatever news is going on next week. It's probably gonna be a slow week up until the Rising card, and then early January, I think we're gonna have some fights. But this weekend, actually tonight, apologies, tonight is Bellator 289 Stotts versus Sabatalo. Rafion Stotts is 18-1. Sabatalo is 13-1. This is for the interim bantamweight title. This is, I believe, a part of the tournament. I want to say that the tournament that they have going on right now. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. Um, I believe this is the tournament winner. Wins this gets $1 million. I believe this is the finals of the flyweight tournament, or the bantamweight tournament. I'm sorry. And this is the interim bantamweight title, is up for grabs because Sergio Pettis is out. So we'll see. We'll see. I want to, you know, that part is still not 100% in terms of if this is actually the tournament finals. Um, but I think this is a great fight. Rafion Stotts, I've interviewed Rafion Stotts before, I believe maybe 2017, 2018. Um, he was early in his career. He was at Rufus Sport. Um, and recently he had to move camps over to Houston, I believe, back home because it's just because of the Sergio Pettis connection and the title fight being so close. It's something that it's became an issue for them at that camp. From what I saw and from what I expected, actually, because he was doing so well. Him and Sergio are such good friends. They train at the same gym. You knew it was going to happen at some point. Um, Rafion has always been Rafion, or Rafion. He's big personality. His striking has gotten great. His wrestling is always solid. His condition is great. His energy, his tenacity, his toughness, his aggressiveness, it's all there, man. His confidence. The guy's something. You know what I mean? And we'll see what he ends up becoming. If he it becomes the bantamweight king, I think he's got all the skills to do so. Sabatello is a fantastic wrestler. I think this is going to be his biggest and toughest test. He's got a lot to say. He's got a big mouth. A lot of people compare him to Colby Covington. I see it, obviously, with the shades and the trash talk and the bravado and the open shirts and all this other shit. I think I think he's a good fighter himself. You know what I mean? I think Rafion's going to be too much for him, though. I think Rafion has too many tools in the toolbox. I think his ability to mix up the wrestling with the striking, his pace, and everything that he has at his in his arsenal, in his toolbox, I think is going to be too much for Sabatello. So I'm going to pick Rafion Stotts to get the title. That's it, man. In the co-main event, you have Liz Carmouche versus Juliana Velasquez. This is a rematch for the women's flyweight title. In the original fight, Juliana was piecing up Liz Carmouche, and to me, it's like Liz has been in the game for so long. She's been inconsistent in terms of her performances, up and down. Sometimes she looks like a world beater. Sometimes she looks like she just has missed a step. She's old. She's done. I believe she's in her late 30s now. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one. Um, Juliana, I think, is big. She's got fantastic striking. The wrestling is decent. I think she's from what I saw or heard, she's a black belt in judo. Um, my opinion, I think Liz knows what to do in this fight. I think she knows the holes in Juliana's game, but I believe Juliana is going to make the adjustments, and I believe Juliana is going to probably take this fight. I think she's gonna. I say Juliana by decision. I think it's going to be a dominant one. I don't think she's going to allow herself to get put in those positions anymore. I think she's going to fight off Liz Carmouche as much as she can. I think Liz thinks it's going to be, you know, I don't think Liz is going to be able to do too much. I don't think her stand up is going to improve to where she's going to want so much since the first time that she's all of a sudden going to have this newfound confidence to just stand with Juliana and trade with her and it's just not going to happen. I think she knows that she can't deal with Juliana's feet, so she's going to just be desperate and relentless to get that takedown. And I think more often than not, she's going to get stopped. She's going to get stuffed. She's going to be forced to stand. And I think she's going to get pieced up. And I think she's going to she's going to get neutralized. From what I feel, unless Juliana just has a mental break and she just has nothing to offer her when she gets taken down. She has no defense. She just allows herself to get run over. That's a possibility too, but I think she's too good of a fighter. I think she doesn't want to lose again. And there's a lot of controversy for the first match, and the way it ended with Liz Carmouche getting Juliana in the crucifix. And I completely agree with it being an early stoppage, although it being a super bad position for Juliana to get herself into. You never want to get yourself into a position like that because something like that can happen to where the ref can just call it a day, especially when you're getting punched in the face and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get out. I don't know. So I'm going to go with Juliana to take back the title, the women's flyweight title. So those are my picks. You have Magomedov versus Patchy Mix. Magomed is 4-0. Patchy is 16-1. I think Patchy is too big, too crafty, and too hungry to lose in this fight. I think Magomedov is. I mean, he's decent, an all-around decent fighter, but I just don't think he's. I don't think he's good enough to win this tournament. I don't think he's good enough to beat any one of these guys. Beat Patchy Mix. I just don't. I think Patchy's good enough to on the feet. I think he's good enough on the ground. I don't think Magomed is. He's no Khabib, or he's no Islam Makhachev. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that killer stand up, that knockout power. He doesn't have that thumping punches. He doesn't have that double or single, blast takedown. He's not some Dagestani just world beater. He's not that. And because he's not that, I say Patchy takes this. And then you have to kick off the main card, you have Anthony Adams versus Dalton Rosta. On the rest of the card, you have Ilara Joanne versus Denise Kieltz, and that's the main event of the prelims. On Jared Scoggins is and Case Bell is the curtain jerker. That's the opener. That's pretty much it. You have some other fights on there, but those are your main fights. This is at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Bellator 289, Stotts versus Sabatello. Again, I'm going with Stotts. I'm going with Juliana Velasquez. And I'm going with Patchy Mix. We'll see how I do tonight. And that is tonight. Again, that is tonight on Showtime. UFC 282, that is Saturday, December 10th. That is headlined by Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. I wasn't super excited. I was excited. I was interested. Obviously, I was going to watch it. I thought it was an interesting matchup. But I wasn't super, super excited until I saw them face off at the press conference today. or yesterday. I thought then once I saw them face off, I was like, ooh, I'm looking forward to this one. And Ankalaev is big. He's big. He's taller than and I think than Jan. I think Jan is a lot more stocky, but Magomed is looking down at him. I mean, I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? So he's a big guy, man. Jan 29-9. Magomed is 18-1. I don't know. I think it's Magomed's time. You know, I just think he's too crafty, he's too good, he's too solid in every area. I think he's just one of those Dagestani fucking killers, man. He just knows what to do. He just goes in there, he knows what the job is, he goes in there and he does it. That's it. Jan, I think his Jan has to, go in there and figure it out. You know what I mean? And in some way, there's still a part of Jan that has to go in there and figure him out. Whereas Magomed is just going to go in there and do whatever the fuck he wants to do. You know what I mean? However long it takes, he's just going to do it. There's nothing to figure out. You know what I mean? He figured it out already before he gets in there. You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. So, that's why I just got to go with him. I got to go with Ankalaev as having the edge. And I'm just going to go with that, man. Jared Gordon versus Patty Pimblett. I didn't really. I'm not a super big Patty Pimblett guy. I don't really hate the guy either. I thought it was kind of pathetic and sad of what he did this week, going after Ariel and looking like a fool when Ariel, fucking came with the receipts and made him look like a dumbass and stupid and a super brown noser. The worst case of brown nosing I've ever seen when it comes to Dana White. Ooh, it was nasty. Um, I don't know if Jared's the guy though. I don't know if Jared Gordon is the guy to put the hype train away. I don't. I seen him fight. I seen his highlights. I seen everything. I just think Patty is just a little bit too much. You know what I mean? He's a little bit crafty, too crafty. He's a little bit too hungry. He's got too much momentum. I think he's just a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, maybe. Just a little bit too much. Just just has that little bit extra to where a guy like Jared Gordon, I don't think is going to be the guy to do it. I think there's some doubt in Jared as far as his place in this sport or in this division, in this company. Um, and I think Patty knows where he's at, or at least he knows where he wants to be. And I don't see any doubt in his eyes that when it comes to Jared Gordon. Jared, when I hear him, when I hear that I'm gonna make, he's a quitter, or I'm gonna go in there and give it all I got and see what happens. That's not confidence to me, man. That is someone who maybe not is not ready for the big time pressure. And when you're fighting a guy like Patty, who's got a lot of big time attention, that that's a lot of big time pressure. So I don't know if Jared Gordon's the guy. We'll see. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. He's got as much experience as Patty. They're 19-5 and 19-3. Or I'm sorry, they're actually 19-5, 19-3. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going. I think Patty's gonna take it, but we'll see if Jared's the guy to derail the hype train. And you have Patty and Molly lose in the first, in the same calendar year, same time frame, whatever. All right, and then we have Alex Moreno, late replacement against Santiago Ponzinibbio. I gotta go with Alex Moreno. He's just tough, gritty. He's a dog. Style wise, I just I think they're roughly around the same. They're both strikers. Crafty on the ground, scrappy. You know what I mean? but I think Santiago's a little bit longer in the tooth. We'll see. We'll see. Uh, Alex is a dog, man. He's a fucking dog, you know. And this is a late replacement, but he's a dog. That's not an easy fight for Santiago, man. Style wise, it might be a little bit less to figure out, but you know, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Um, and there's a bunch of other fights on the card. I think overall, it's a great card. It's an entertaining card. Um, you have Darren Till. You have what's his name? What's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Jiu-Jitsu man. What's his name? Hillbilly. Whatever you want to call him. God damn. All right, whatever. That's pretty much the card. You have a lot of guys on the card. A lot of fights on the card. Some great interesting fights. I'm looking forward to all of them. Those are your top fights right there. Jan, Patty, who else? Probably Alex Moreno. You got a lot of. It's a great card. It's a great card. Great sneaky, under the radar, fantastic fight card. Entertaining to say the least, and there's a lot of fights on this card. I want to get into, is this pay-per-view worthy? What's the numbers are going to be? What are the numbers going to be? I don't see it doing a lot. Even with Patty saying that everybody's going to want to go and see him, everybody's buying this pay-per-view for him. I somewhat believe that in terms of whoever's buying this pay-per-view is probably buying it for Patty. There's Jan or Ankalaev they are not selling this fight. Whatever work they've done, whatever embedded episodes they've done, that's not selling this fight. Patty, for whatever it's worth, is selling this fight, and whatever numbers it pulls in, you can attribute that to probably Patty. I don't think he's a superstar in terms of pay-per-view numbers. I don't think he's a mainstream star yet. I don't think the hardcore fan base has really taken to him as much as he thinks maybe they have. I don't think the mainstream has taken to him as much as they think that they have. But we'll see. We shall see. That is Saturday night. Bellator tonight. You have LFA tonight. And I want to thank you guys all for joining me. This has been a brand new, long overdue episode of the Combat Source podcast. Just another reminder, thecombatsource.com is live now. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of content put up there. There's a lot of links to all the content sources. And I want to try to do whatever I can to get you as much combat sports content as I can. Okay, and I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all you guys for listening, and enjoy the fights.